Which fun fact, by the way, right? They're in Atlanta, which I've actually been to Atlanta once before. I've been there in like what was it? I went to Atlanta back in 2017. I was there for a couple hours, and I stopped at the CNN Center, right? Like actually the news station place where they actually host the news at, right? The CNN building in Atlanta. Which fun fact, by the way, it was um it was the same building that was on the news a couple years back because there was a George Floyd riot that took place at this CNN center in Atlanta. Right, people were pissed off about what happened to George Floyd, so they were, they broke the glass, right, throwing stones through the glass. Somebody even threw in a firecracker or a firework at the police officers inside. It's crazy video. If you look it up on YouTube, you could find what I'm talking about. It's CNN Center Atlanta, George Floyd riot. You can find the video. Entertaining. Um, yeah, that was a pretty cool place when I went there. As I said all those years ago. But yeah, Atlanta's a cool city if you ever get to see that yourself. And I know Sakari is based out there. They have a couple of GMS camps out there too, I believe. Which I was hoping to run into GMS when I was there in Atlanta, but unfortunately they were not out that night when I was there a couple years back. You can send me a link to that, Eddie, and I'll check it out. Yeah, if you want me to check that video out, man, you can send me a link to it at my personal Gmail. You have it. Um, excuse me. Let me see real quick. Hey, what's up, Von Eric? How's it going, Joe? Yo, Joe, man, if you're still listening, reach out to me at my personal Gmail. We can work out a conversation, man. Again, this is like the 20th time I'm telling you this, man. I don't know why. I don't know why it's so difficult for you to do that. You have my email. Contact me there, and we can set up a conversation. I mean, I don't get why that's so difficult. I mean, shit, man. You know, Jill, even Perry can do that. So I mean, shit, if a monkey like him can do it, right? Somebody without a brain, if like him can do it, then your ass can do it too, man. I mean, I don't know how else to I don't know how else to say that. I mean, come on. It's ridiculous. Oh, and a whole nother thing, right? You have this dude now, Babylon, right? He calls himself Jamie as his name. Which again, I've said before, man. If you listen to this guy talk, right, it's like a damn this dude, this dude damn well sounds like he sounds like a castrato, right? If you listen to this guy's voice, right, his squeaky voice, this guy sounds like he's a damn castrato. Look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, damn, this is, and I'm not even trying to be mean, right? I'm not trying to be mean to this character. I'm just, I'm being for real, right? There was a dude, even Dahar knows this guy. There was somebody years back, and this guy would always change his channel names. I don't even know what the hell he calls himself now, but he used to be named Keeping It 100, right? I'm keeping it 100. Right. So I've took that little slogan from his name, right? He's keeping it 100. So now I say, when I'm being real with someone, right? I'll say I'm keeping it 100, right? Or I'll say I'm, for real, for real. Right. So I'm just keeping it 100 with you, Jill. But anyway, let me see. But yeah, Babylon. I've known this guy for like 15, 16 months now. And, a year ago, he was just like a regular church Christian. You could have a friendly conversation with. I'll give him credit. Years ago, he actually was decently friendly, excuse me. But now the dude's on there, and he follows the Perry the preacher's doctrine is what he follows now, right? Thinks he's perfect. He can't do nothing wrong. Rainbow for Jesus. And it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. That somebody could go from being a relatively humble human being, like what he was a year ago, to now being just a hypocritical liar, but then pretend that he's not a liar, right? It's impossible for him to commit sin, apparently. No, so he can sit there and smoke all the weed he wants. He can sit there and you know, um, do whatever the hell he wants. But as long as he himself doesn't call it sin, that means it's not sin. So then I cut his ass to shreds because I asked him, wait a second, you guys teach that as long as you don't consider your actions to be sin, that means God doesn't consider it to be sin for you, right? Wait a second. So why the hell would an atheist be in sin against God if an atheist, they don't consider their actions to be sin because given the fact that they don't believe in God, they don't believe in the concept of sin, they don't believe in a divine law, right? So why the hell would an atheist be against God? Going by Perry's logic, right? Why the hell would they be against God and in sin if they don't believe their actions are sin? Because they don't believe in a divine law that they have to follow, aka they don't believe in sin. And sin, according to the Bible, 1 John chapter 3, verse 4, for sin is a transgression of God's law. Right. So if the person doesn't believe in God's law, then how the hell could they be a sinner then? Going by Perry's logic. Again, the dude is cut with his own logic. But then he won't even acknowledge it because he is perfect and doesn't sin. Ridiculous. Um, I don't think so. Gospel. Right? I don't think Jill is one of those. I mean, shit, you'll have to ask him yourself, but going by what I've seen from him, I wouldn't say that. Okay, yeah, Eddie, I see the notification at the top of my screen. I got it. But I'll look at that later. I've seen that the horror's live right now too with Gabor and another um brother from the camp. I was watching them for a couple minutes, but then I had this scheduled, so I wanted to wanted to come through with my promise of going live for a little bit. But then I gotta go back and watch some of that. Uh let's see. I do apologize, it's only an hour stream tonight, but it is what it is. Hey, it's better a little over nothing, right? Yeah, Victimhood's a cool guy. We had him on. I believe he called in the last stream I did with Jay. Eddie was there. A few other cats that we didn't know who were new to this channel. They were over there as well. But that was an interesting conversation. One thing I do, right, is I host a platform where we let anybody come on, any background, any faith, any religion. You're welcome to come on and we can have a friendly back and forth dialogue. Your topic of choice. It doesn't have to be with name calling or, swearing or any of that. You can have a nice, friendly back and forth conversation. And that's the way that you get your point across to other people. I was just watching a video an hour ago, actually, of, on Deacon Destruction Mode's page, where he and, these other Christians were having a debate. And for 50% of the video time, these guys are just, yelling at each other, making jokes on one another, talking over each other. It's ridiculous. You don't learn nothing like that. It's not educational or entertaining for the audience to see something like that. Well, for some people, it might be entertaining, but for people actually wanting to learn a thing or two from hearing, two sides of a opposing view have a conversation, they don't learn nothing. We're just seeing a bunch of grown dudes, act like, toddlers. It's ridiculous. But this is how these people think. Well, I think Deacon's a cool guy, but he goes off on some things, right? Which you guys didn't know this, but Gorilla, right, aka Alazar and Deacon, years and years ago, those guys used to be part of GMS. They used to be part of the group. Now I don't know if they got kicked out by the leaders or if they left on their own. I can't answer that because I'm not necessarily sure if they left on their own or they got kicked out over something they did. But one way or another, they left and they set up their own group, right, the Sakari. But those guys used to be under GMS banner, years and years ago. That's the history with those guys. Same thing with these guys that call themselves tried and refined, right? These guys, what are they? CHI, right? Tried and refined Israelites, which I don't know where the hell those guys are. They used to be on YouTube. We had a couple debates with them. I myself, the Minor Reg, and Jay was there a couple times too, where these guys will call in, and debate about certain topics. And I mean, those dudes are a clear example of being bugged the hell out, man. They used to be part of the GMS Chicago camp. And I used to watch them years ago. I remember back in 2016, they used to be GMS Chicago. I remember watching some of their videos. But then they got kicked out of the camp because, well, over Flat Earth, which they were right on that. But then, of course, they strode off and said some whacked out shit as well, saying that, Babylon the Great would be destroyed by volcanoes, among other nonsense. But they got worse and worse and worse. Then they threw out the UFOs or the chariots. They threw out, missiles in the Bible. They threw out. Um, I mean, shit, it got so bad to where, the Vatican City's Mystery Babylon, can't forget that one. Um, it got so bad that they now throw out the New Testament, right? They literally throw out the New Testament and say that the New Testament is a fabrication, right? So they accept the Old Testament, but now they reject the New Testament. But yet, just a year ago, a year and a half ago, when they hopped on my channel, they believed in the Old Testament, I mean, the New Testament. They believed in the New Testament, but now they only believe in the Old Testament. I believe that the camp leader is a guy named Nazariah, right? This guy, they call him Naz, right? Short, but his real name is Nazariah, which I spoke to that guy one time. They did a stream where they let people call in. It's amazing to me the amount of followers that these guys have. It's like you'd think of these guys, because they barely upload anything on the internet. Shit, I don't even think they have any videos up on YouTube anymore. Last time I checked, these guys are on a app called, what is it, Clubhouse, right? These people are using something now that's called Clubhouse. That's what they here for me a second. That's what they're using to talk to people. Janie said, "We live with Paul." Who's Paul that you're talking about? Maybe Jay's familiar with that person, but I'm not familiar with who Paul is here. You'll have to let me know. Well, I'm going to wrap up in a couple of minutes here. If there's any last minute questions, you're welcome to ask now in the chat down below. I'm going to wrap up in just a couple of minutes here. So as I said, short stream tonight, but no, I didn't want to disappoint because I said I was going to do one. All right, let me see. And Eddie, I'll check out that video a little bit later, man. But I did get the email you just sent me. I got that. Oh, I wanted to comment on this. Here's something I can talk about. I was downtown the other day. I want to say like maybe 2 days ago now. And as I was downtown, I ran into, there was two groups of Jehovah Witnesses on the same street, right? So I walk over to these two dudes that were there, and they were like, "Oh, me no English, but me no English," inside joke. But then he tells me in English to go over to the other Jehovah Witnesses across the street. So I was like, wait a second, so you don't speak English, but yet you told me in English to go over to talk to those guys. Which I wasn't going to argue what to do because I don't got time for that. But I was thinking to myself, it's like, what the hell? You don't speak English, but you just told me in clear English to go over to the other Jehovah Witnesses. It's like, what the hell? And then I asked the other dude, right? He don't speak English either, So without arguing with them, I just walked over to the other group of Jehovah Witnesses, and we had a conversation, which is up on my channel if you want to watch it. For those on Jay's channel who don't know mine, you can look me up, End Time Teacher, right? End Time Teacher, and I have the same icon I have on my screen there. If you want to check the conversation out, it was about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And really, what I had to do, because again, anybody who has any experience with Jehovah's Witnesses, you would know that they don't like to be on camera, right? They don't like to have conversations on camera, and they also don't like to have debates, right? They don't debate. So, I had to secretly record the conversation without them, noticing that I'm recording. So that's why the quality of the screen is not so well if you watch the video, but it's the audio that counts. It's the conversation that counts that you get to listen to. So, it was an interesting conversation, but there was a point in it where I asked him about, what about down the street from where we're standing? Because again, this was downtown, right, where that church line, the rainbow flag is. So I asked the Jehovah Witnesses, it's like, wait a second. So what do you guys think? Like, what are your personal opinion, regarding the Bible that you're holding in your hands and about the group down the street who claims to believe in the Bible, but they're flying a rainbow flag outside of their church? I mean, like, what do you guys think about that? They were like, oh, that's none of our business. If they want to do that, they can go and do that. We don't judge people here, right? We don't want to cause division among people. But then I clearly cut them to shreds because I asked them, wait a second, though. So you guys aren't trying to bring division. But then in Matthew, the 10th chapter, like verse 34 on down, Christ said that he didn't come to earth to bring peace, but he came to bring a sword. He came to bring division among people. So why the hell are you guys saying you're trying to bring everybody together? But yet Christ said that he's coming to bring division. But you guys said you're not trying to cause division among people. They don't really know how to get around that. So I mean, I cut them up. But of course, you want to keep it friendly and respectable so they don't, cut the conversation down and leave. Because you know what? I noticed this. It always seems like when I have a conversation with these people, they always, start packing up and are ready to leave because, I think really going on is they just don't want to have the conversation. So when they start getting cornered, they just pack up and say they got to leave. Because it's like, why the hell else are you guys there? It's not like you're going to have any other person except maybe one or two people that stop by for like 5 minutes and have a chat with you, maybe take a book or two from you. But it's like if somebody actually comes up who might know what they're talking about, like myself, and tries to, ask you certain questions as to what you're saying, it's like, why would you not engage in a conversation? Then the funny part to me is they don't want to be on video, but it's like, wait a second. So you guys don't want to be on video, but you're perfectly fine with coming out in public and talking to people. It's like, isn't there something weird about that? It's like, why, if you guys don't want to be on video, then why the hell are you coming out in public among everybody out there? Like what is so wrong with somebody recording you? Like, I just don't get that. But again, they don't know, right? They don't even know what they believe in. As ridiculous and as ironic as it sounds, they don't even know why they believe the things that they themselves believe. Hey, what's up, Luke? How's it going, man? But but yeah, which I asked them certain questions, just trying to, trick them up and, and see like what they'd say, and shit like that. Because I already know, right? I already know beforehand that they don't really know a whole lot, so I might ask them, certain trick questions and, stuff to stick them up. Like, say, for an example, right? I started off the conversation with asking them about reincarnation, which I knew they didn't know much about that. So we didn't go too deep on that. But then the guy was like, because I asked them, well, what happens to people when they die? Because I wanted to see if they'd say, when you die, you go right to heaven, which is not true in the Bible, but a lot of people believe that, right? They believe that, if you're wicked, you'll die and go straight to hell and burn. If you're righteous, you'll go right to heaven with Jesus when you die. That's not true. But I wanted to ask him just so I don't misrepresent his standpoint. But he was like, nope, when you die, you're dead, and that's it. But then I had to reiterate to him, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, when you die, you're dead, but it's like, well, what state is your soul in when it leaves the body? Which we agreed on actually, because he was like, in a state of unconsciousness, which is true because the Bible compares being dead to being asleep. A clear example of that is John the 11th chapter, when Christ was with the apostles. He said that Lazarus was taking a sleep, but then the apostles thought that he was speaking to him just taking a nap. But then Christ reiterated and said, well, no, Lazarus is dead. So that's a clear example of being dead being compared to sleep in the Bible. So believe it or not, that was a topic that me and the Jehovah's Witnesses could come to an agreement about, unbelievably. It's weird that we actually agreed on something for once. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Luke. I hope you get better soon, man. But as I said, this wasn't gonna be a long stream tonight. I just wanted to go live for a little bit.